leprechaun.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Boxing, Weights and Rugby YouTube channel. As always, I'm here with my good friends Enda and Luke. How are we this evening, gentlemen?
All good, Adam.
So we have a very busy schedule this evening.
What is that thumbs up thing about?
I have no idea. I don't know what I'm doing that's setting it off. I remember the first time. What I'm quite self-conscious about is it might well be it's going, his head looks like a thumb.
Maybe.
No, your head doesn't look like a thumb. I think of plenty of things to describe your head, but a thumb isn't one of them.
A thumb isn't one of them. That's fine. So the bout sheet for this evening, we're going to go through Buatsi Aziz, Teofimo Lopez versus Jermaine Ortiz, Shiraz versus Williams, who we had a man in attendance, Curiel versus Nashinga, Rakimov Nunes, Santiago versus Nakatani, and we're going to be rascally, and I know this is February's review, but we're going to do this weekend because it's too good to not talk about in Kolmatov versus Ford. So good luck us getting all the names right. We're going to start all the way back with the biggest fight really in Britain this last month, isn't it? Buatsi versus Aziz.
Yeah,
what did we think, gents?
Definitely. I enjoyed it. It was a good fight. It was, well matched. Aziz was always in the fight, I suppose, but he just couldn't get that extra gear to try and get to Buatsi. And Buatsi had to work for the win, though. And those knockdowns were dubious.
I don't know they were knockdowns.
Well, I thought Buatsi was always in control, so maybe I saw it a little different to you.
He was.
I'm not saying Aziz wasn't a live animal in the fight, but I just thought Buatsi was just always in control for me. You know what I mean?
I think I gave Aziz 3 rounds.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Oh, yeah. I'd have given him 4, but I mean, like, there was never a point that he was troubling Buatsi for the win.
No, but Buatsi had to work for it, though. It was not.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't in cruise control.
No, it was a good fight, but you could see Buatsi was the better fighter for that boxer. You know what I mean? It was a great fight. Well, it wasn't a great fight. It was a good fight. I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Absolutely.
Definitely.
It was the definition of competitive but clear.
Yeah,
so that's what it was.
Exactly.
Like Enda says, it was basically, I always thought at every point in that fight, Buatsi was in control, but if he'd taken his foot off the gas, that gets out of hand very quickly for him.
It
was a really good fight. But yeah, I think the shame was the knockdowns at the end because there was no jeopardy, like at all. Because I was like, this is, like I said, I think we all had it roughly 8-4, 93, and then knockdowns at the end. You go, right, well, there's no danger on the cards. I'm not sat here going, I wonder if he'll get a draw because the knockdowns make it that.
There was nothing.
Yeah, but maybe the knockdowns are better then because if you score that fight a draw, you're a moron.
Well, there's plenty of those in the world, my friend. Will you be actually very quick first side tangent of the thing? Have you guys looked at the Boxing News app?
No, not yet.
Sorry.
The Boxing News have just put up an app.
Adam, you're breaking up on me. I don't know if it's everyone else.
Do you hear me, Luke?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the new Boxing News app has like a fight prediction and a live scorecard thing. So I'll be interested to see how that functions on Friday.
Definitely.
Yeah, it does not work in the Irish Republic.
Why?
Oh.
Because it's not the only jurisdictions it's live in is UK, the US, and Jamaica for some reason.
Oh, okay.
No, because I downloaded it and I couldn't score anything, and I was like, okay, is this a jurisdiction thing? And I got on to what's his name?
Tebbit.
Charge of Boxing News now. Yeah, Mark or Tebbit, and he was like Rob Tebbit. He was like, yeah, no, it's not in the EU because obviously, like once it gets in any country in the EU, it's in all of them. So obviously EU licensing, but the reason is gambling. Because there's gambling in the app, and when you've gambling in the app, there's a lot stricter rules around gambling in the European Union than there is in there is in the US, so I don't know if it's in every state. It's probably only limited states that's available in the US with gambling, and obviously Jamaica.
I did not know that. That's very interesting. And it's always well informed on these things.
There you go. But
because they were going on about as well about ring walk. Oh yeah, and I was like, there's already an app for that. Like, yeah, ring walks is brilliant. Like it only covers the major fights, but it's always bang on the money.
See, this is how you learn about these things. I'd never ever get up in. The last fight I was up in the middle of the night for was Mayweather Pacquiao, and I'm like, I swear, I'm never doing it again.
Wow.
Yeah, but when you reach my age, you're getting up in the middle of the night anyway. So
The only reason I didn't get up at the week on Saturday there was because I'd work on Sunday. That was like the first.
but that's fair enough. Like, in fairness, if I'd work on, I'd work. Oh yeah, and you go downstairs and you work. It's still bloody work. But anyway, yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. No, it's shocking, but yeah, but like, I mean, I fell asleep and only woke up for the main event because I ended up kind of, because it was early. It was 1 a.m. I was like, oh, I'll stay awake. Oh, that didn't happen. So I'm very sketchy about my reports on the fights for that one.
I didn't stay up for the last year Kerr Stevenson fight either because I'd work the next day, but that was a good thing.
You were right for doing that, because had you stayed up, you wouldn't be up for long. It was so bad, and it's not because Shakur was mastering the fight. It was just, he was dreadful. Like, there was definitely something wrong with his hand or something, and he's gone off the rails a little bit. There's an awful lot of boxers gone off the rails lately. Ryan Garcia, in a bad way this week.
It's sad. It's genuinely sad to see. I mean, it's a.
Of course it is, but I mean, like, for me, like, the warning signs are just there the whole time, and Ryan needs intervention. Is what Ryan needs.
The same with Teo. I always think the same, as you can see it all coming. See the signs. And it's just a shame that I don't know if it's a cultural thing or if it's just the case of the like, let's try and get the money out of this.
But
I think Garcia Haney's in big jeopardy.
I would be shocked
I don't
if
think
that
that's
happens.
going ahead.
I don't think
I can't
that
see that going ahead.
They're talking about Broner coming in as the replacement.
But
could you imagine he comes back and shocks the world?
Oh, I mean, that would be hilarious, but I can't imagine replacing
Adrian Broner. Yeah. I thought you meant Garcia. I was like, and of course that means my prediction about Garcia remains correct.
I tell you what, if Mikey Garcia could get off the couch, I wouldn't mind that fight.
Yeah, I'd be happier with that one. I mean, the Broner versus Haney fight would be so dull.
But we all know who we want. We want Haney versus
Theo.
No, not Theo. Gervonta Davis. Just to shut Davis up, really.
That sparring footage, I watched it now, and that was interesting sparring.
I haven't seen the sparring footage yet, but I mean, it's 8 years ago, and Haney's infinitely better than he was.
Haney's infinitely better than all of them. Like, the only one I wanted Haney in against was Shakur, and Shakur's off the rails now, so that's out the window.
I'd like to see
against Lopez.
I'd like to see both. I think Haney. I think what Lopez, and we'll come on to Lopez in a minute, but very quickly back to Aziz and Boatsy. In a name, who's next for Aziz? Who's next for Boatsy?
Yard and Richards.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think there's a good domestic kind of, not prize fighter, but like a knockout super series. A super series you could do. Don't have them all fighting each other the one night, but fighting over, weeks, like proper full 12-round fights.
Yeah,
that's
where the most money is. If you just you go right. You fight. You basically just do it in tiers. You go right. Okay, you've got Yard, Callum, and Boatsy, and then you fight to go up a tier. And if you don't do that, there's like Richard, Aziz, Arthur, and then it's just the case of you just intermingle, and then you get
absolutely.
You've lost in a step up. Okay, you've then got to fight somebody else around that level, around the level you're at, the kind of the fringe world level, and then just keep doing that. They'll make a load of money, and we get a load of great fights because I can't imagine there's a bad style amongst them.
Well, the only thing is, I don't know how much money it would make. There is no money in boxing unless His Excellency is footing the bill. There is no money in boxing. It's all vanished into thin air since the FBI came knocking.
But the thing is, there's more money in that than there is in them fighting people. Nobody else. But there is more money relatively there.
Well, there's only money in that.
Yeah, there is only money in there versus no money elsewhere.
Yeah, like if you said to Aziz, okay, you can fight Balotnik, so you can fight Arthur.
Yeah, there's no brainer there.
But the other thing is that Japanese prize fighter that McKenna's involved in, that could be really good.
That looks
$1 million.
Yeah, the $1 million prize fight is awesome.
Yeah, but that's the total prize money. Like, people think that's the winner's money. It's not. That's pays everybody. You know,
No,
It's
the million.
a lot more than what prize fighter used to be.
The $1 million, what the winner will accumulate over 3 fights, apparently.
Oh right.
So
Oh,
that's what
sorry.
Deck Taylor was saying. It's like, so if you win it, you get basically a win bonus for each fight. So you get your purse for the 3 fights, and then the win bonus across 3 fights adds up to $1 million. Apparently, that's what Deck was saying.
$1 million.
$1 million, indeed.
But yeah,
I shall call it the Alan Parsons Project.
I do not think Arthur is going to fight anytime soon. Since getting that Saudi money.
No, I would be surprised. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't fight again, because then realistically, you're going, I'm going to have to take a 10th to fight a physically, like, who wants to fight Craig Richards?
Like, he probably, like, I'm not going to know, but I'd say Arthur got a 6-figure payday for that Bivol fight.
Something like that. I don't. The money's wild out there at the minute. But
yeah,
on to Mr. Lopez. Now, I absolutely love. We've lost Ender very briefly. I don't know what's going on in there, but I think
Ender'll be back in a minute.
That's fine.
No, I'm just trying to get my Wi-Fi fixed because I'm losing you guys. Are you guys losing each other as well?
No, it's fine.
We've got you.
Now, I'm going to give you the advice you gave me and put the coin in the meter. Okay?
I've got solar panels. Oh shit, it's nighttime, no wonder.
Yeah. Run outside.
My plan is foiled.
So yeah.
The only thing is I'm using more electricity now than before I had the solar panels. Because the solar panels just kind of do their thing during the day and they give it back to the grid. And then I just use electricity at nighttime.
Ah, right. Okay, so then it's a net loss.
But the only thing is I've always got hot water now, which I didn't have before.
You're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I've been doing that my whole life. I mean, that's how I'm going to see England versus Ireland this weekend, and then Arsenal versus Porto on Tuesday, and then I'm going to Birmingham on St. Patrick's weekend. I was going to London as well. Well,
I can't begrudge it.
Wait, why are you
going
to
to
Birmingham
London
on Paddy's
first?
Day?
But Chelsea went and got through to the next round of the FA fucking Cup. Heaney Pauls, come on, my Celtic warrior.
Did you see, actually, speaking of Paddy's weekend, sorry to interrupt, you've got Craig McCarthy flying over to box Tommy Hyde.
Yes, yeah, sure. My interview with Tommy.
Yeah, that's a good old fight.
It is. I mean, in fairness, and Jesus, Tommy was a grand lad to chat to as well. But like, nice, I mean, because he was due to fight in Cork, and of course, you know, with all the Irish stuff and getting a license is very difficult in Ireland. And sure, I mean, like, there's no money for Irish boxers fighting in Ireland. There's loads of money to be made for Irish boxers fighting in the United States on St. Patrick's weekend. You know, I mean, if you're an Irish boxer, get your gloves on and fight that weekend. You'll make money.
Like, I was there when Brad Ray fought Craig McCarthy on the in Manchester on the undercard of Canbrook. And like, I was actually on the same plane as McCarthy going home, and he was in a bad out of way. So it'd be interesting now up at light heavyweight. Like, that's a good big challenge for him. I think Hyde will probably, for want of a better phrase or a pun, give him a bit of a hiding, because he's a big lad, Hyde, and
but Hyde isn't as far on as Ray was. Like, Hyde is still a fairly novice pro.
He's not, but he'll still
but I was talking to Brad as well during the week. Just there's another. Right, But Brad's flying along with VIP, and this super middleweight seems to suit him better. To be fair,
definitely.
He's filled out and he's got that power, that pop in his punch.
It's the shoulders.
Hopefully he'll do well the next time.
He's got the frame for it
and get back out. Oh yeah, but I mean, he's 6'3". Like, what's he doing in middleweight at 6'3"? Like, I mean, he was always going up.
You can always say that. You always look at the
Teofimo.
Yeah, so Teofimo. So about Teo, right? Generally speaking, when it comes to boxing, 1 time can be a fluke, 2 times is not a coincidence, and 3 is a full pattern. Teo has now looked shit in 3 fights against the same style, and I now worry for him in the Haney fight, because if you go full Duke, that style is all wrong for us. He was rotten against Ortiz, and we slag off Stevenson for a shit fight. That was a shit fight as well.
No, but we expect more from Stevenson. Stevenson was my future pound for pound. You know what I mean? I never had that with Lewis or Ortiz.
But I find with Lopez, like, I don't expect
or Lopez even. Jesus Christ! I was like, why am I mentioning Lewis Ortiz?
I don't expect a great fight from Stevenson. I expect a great performance. I expect watching Teofimo Lopez to be entertained in the same, like in a different way, because he's a puncher, explosive.
Yeah, he is a puncher.
Whereas that was dreadful.
He
But
doesn't
I
know.
still think no matter how good he is, Haney is better. Haney's just better. You know, of those 4 future kings, he was always the number 1 for me. Like Stevenson was not in that 4. It was himself and
Haney, Lopez, Davis, Garcia, Stevenson are the 5 everyone talks about.
Stevenson
I
wasn't in that
would-
4 because he was heavier than them. He was always the weight above them, wasn't he?
Stevenson's lighter.
Or lighter, sorry.
Yeah, he was always a couple of weight classes below.
But I think with Teofimo, he just can't go forward. He doesn't know how.
He can't cut the ring off. He needs you to. He basically needs you to be there, coming at him, and he can jump in and out.
Yeah.
It was bizarre because he threw every now and again in that fight. He threw the jab out, and whenever he threw the jab out, suddenly the right hand landed, and then we've lost Luke. This happens. See, this is what happens when you make cheeky.
To find 50p for his meter.
I was going to say, this is what happens when you make cheeky comments to Enda about paying for the meter, and then you disappear.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he pumps the jab out, and he makes contact, and then it just and then it just stops.
But it's like when you're a counter puncher, you need an attacking puncher. And I think that had happened in Stevenson's last fight. There was 2 counter punchers, neither willing to lead off.
Yeah.
You know? And that's the problem. If you're a counter puncher, you have to be able to lead off from time to time.
Yeah. Hello there, welcome back.
The iPad.
Did you get that 50 cents in the meter after, Luke?
It's the iPad, unfortunately. I don't know what's up with it this evening.
But it reminded me.
Have you put in?
It reminded me
could be on its last legs.
When Mayweather fought Marquez, Marquez couldn't find Mayweather. Now, Mayweather was much more offensively minded in that fight than Ortiz was. But it reminded me very vividly, like you say, of like a counter puncher who can't necessarily cut off the ring or work behind the jab. That was exactly what I saw watching that.
He didn't even step into the jab. He just put it out there.
He flicked
it. He wasn't stepping into it or anything. He was just kind of putting it out, hoping Ortiz would take the bait. And Ortiz was clever. He didn't take the bait.
No, I mean that's how you fight a counterpuncher.
Now, in regards to scoring it, I actually had a 6 rounds apiece. I found it very hard to separate them. No one really put their authority on the fight. And of course, when you're scoring it round by round, and by the end of the 12, I looked at my score sheet and I was like, yeah, it's a fucking draw.
Yeah, I did this. I actually had the same score.
But you have to pick a winner.
You don't.
You have to pick a winner.
You do. It's the
you
rule.
Don't. It's not.
It's the rule. The first rule of judging is you almost never score a draw. You know, you must have a winner in your head. Even if you scored 6 rounds apiece, one fighter has to. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
obviously this is amateur. You come down in favor of one fighter. You know what I mean? Like, and when I'm watching a fight, no matter how close it is, I always say.
That's where even round fights is a bit annoying. Like 15 rounds was grand because it'd be harder to get a draw.
Anyone that scores an even round is fucking kicking shit.
I mean in 15 rounds,
even
you
numbers.
Can't have it a draw. Yeah.
Even numbers. So like if it's 12, you can have 6-6, but if it's 15, it has to be 8-7.
No, but a bigger sin than an even that. Put your head back over there, please. Thank you. Fucking eyes. Thank you.
I don't know what he's talking about. Is it me or you, Luke?
I'm trying to maneuver my phone on myself at the same time.
Me.
No, it's Adam. He moved his head and that light just went straight into my eyeballs. You know,
put on
even
the solar
fights,
panels,
okay, but even rounds is a sin. Anyone that scores a round even, just
a 10-10.
Get away from me.
But the other thing
away from me.
I don't agree with what the Americans do is they vilified Ortiz for fighting in a manner. They're like, well, you don't win like that. And I was like, you absolutely can win like that.
Yeah,
that's just the Yanks. Don't mind the fucking Yanks.
I'm not scoring you walking forward if you're being punched in the face and landing nothing. I'm scoring punches. I don't care what direction you're going in.
This comes back to me in my amateur days, judging amateurs, and he was the busier one, but he wasn't scoring. The other guy was defensively 100%. Like he was, and when he threw the punches, he didn't show as many, but he landed more. You know? So don't talk to me about fighters that come forward but land nothing, because the other guy's defensively brilliant.
Yeah. It's called effective aggression, isn't it? That's what it is.
Yeah,
and he wasn't. It's the basics of it. So it was a hard round to score because I think Steve Kim likes to say it was like one guy did very little and one guy did nothing, and that would just vary between the two rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, the guy that did very little wins the round. It's that.
But that's the point. That's it. So it's boring to watch, but you still got to score it for whatever.
You know, I mean, like if you can say, well, he actually did more. Well, therefore he's won the round. It's not rocket science.
It reminds me. There's a video somewhere of my very first spar, and it's a minute and a half long. Yeah. And I've counted. I throw 2 punches in a minute and a half.
Oh, sure. I did that in the club thing, and I scored 1 scoring punch in my own head. Now, my opponent didn't score much more, maybe 3. But the fact was, I was like, I had 1 scoring punch in that whole thing. But it was a bit of fun, you know what I mean? Like, but, it's like, that's what it's at the end of the day. I mean...
Did you land them, Adam?
I landed the 2 punches I threw.
Oh,
it was
100% accuracy.
It was 100% connect ratio because it was the same. It was the same punch that it was the jab down the line and then down in for the body. But all it was pouring with sweat when I came out of it. I was like, I've never been so tense. I was like this the whole time.
Yeah, because your arms are like locked.
Yeah. No, nothing.
I can't even remember my first spar. It's too young.
I'll remember. I'll remember that forever.
What's funny as well is when I was sparring with my neighbour and he was southpaw as well, and all of a sudden I decided I'm going to switch to orthodox, and I never throw the left because it's always like there's never an opening for it. And now I was leading with the left and it was brilliant. It was like it's scoring everywhere. Now I know why orthodox fight southpaw, because their lead hand is landing for once. It's not held in reserve for something that may never happen.
Yeah, I find that was but yeah, so that's what for Teofimo, the fight I want to see is Matthias.
That he'll batter Matthias.
Yeah, style wise, that's perfect for him. If he can hurt him, if he can't hurt him, he's fucked. But realistically, that's he will hurt him world level. Of course,
Teo can punch up. Yeah, he's a world class puncher.
So that's what I want for Lopez. I want to see him versus Matthias, and for Ortiz, I think it's the opposite of what Top Rank think. He'll never get another spot on a Top Rank show. But I think he's earned another pop at a decent fighter.
You'd stick him in. I wouldn't mind him against like the winner of Catterall Taylor or something.
Yeah, something like that. Especially Josh. Like I think the Catterall fight would be dreadful, but I think most Jack fights are less than appealing to watch.
They're not. Look, they're not for the non-avid boxing fans.
Yeah, they're for the purists.
Say it, you know you want to.
The casuals and that.
We don't have
non-casual.
We don't have time for that this evening. But who would you like to see them in with?
Jack Catterall can fight the fucking Speaker of the House. Pair of dickheads.
Like that. Look, who would you like to see Lopez and Ortiz with?
Lopez Matthias, yeah.
I'm really annoyed on behalf of Taylor that the whole world just decided that decision was wrong. I hope
Taylor doesn't do himself any favours though.
The next time.
Look, Andy, you might get your retribution soon.
It sold out. Sold really well.
Right. Everyone else got it wrong.
And then
Ortiz, I got the score right.
Ish. You and 3 others. That's it.
The ones that matter.
Unfortunately, for Ortiz
and Douglas.
You know what? You know what? Actually, Adam, if Garcia Haney falls apart, I wouldn't mind seeing Garcia Ortiz whenever Garcia is well again.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea, and that's probably
not a bad, and it will be good for Garcia. You know, because
it's the step for Garcia.
Less daunting task.
Yeah,
but it's also a step up.
I'm not trying to assume he's not going to fight Haney, but I don't think he will at this point in time. But
if I was a betting man, I would put my €2 on that fight. Not happening, but I would get back 2 cents. I'd say.
I honestly thought you said 2-year-old.
And
I was like, yes, I've got so many questions.
Small children now.
We're betting kids.
Hello, like who am I betting with? Nuns?
Yeah.
But yeah,
these to the Americans.
The only thing is now for Teofimo as well, he's made himself a hard sell yet again.
But so it's one or the other.
He's consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, feast or famine. Feast or famine with Teo. But Enda, we're now coming to you because the next conversation is Shiraz versus Williams. I think you
Yes,
had a special vantage point for this, didn't you?
I certainly did. I had a very, very VIP vantage point. But like I feared this would happen, and I didn't want to say it. I thought Shiraz could get him out in one round, and he
Mm.
did. Because I said what Williams showed in the previous fight. I thought he's nothing. He's got nothing except his name, and I thought maybe he'd be a bit more up for it because he went off the rails. Speaking of boxers going off the rails, he retired. He unretired. He was fighting McKenna. He wasn't fighting McKenna. All of a sudden, he got this money, from Queensbury to fight Shiraz, and he turned up and got soundly beaten very quickly. And I mean, Jesus, you knew by ringside it was like this is going to be brutal, you know. Uh, but by God, it was a blast out. But I mean, William shouldn't have been there. William should have retired when he retired.
How did he look in person, Enda, before the fight? Did he not look
I mean,
himself?
well, I mean, like I only saw him coming out, and he went to his corner and he looked fine and all that. But
Yeah.
he wasn't giving me the body language of a guy that was going to win. But I
Mm.
didn't expect him to win. But he didn't give me the look of a fella that was going to get blown out in one round, which happened. And I mean, it was emphatic. Like, I mean, sure, he
Yeah.
got was it two standing counts, and there was
Was
just
it
no coming
was it a
back.
jab that put him down? It
Well,
was,
it was
wasn't
a,
it?
it was a succession of punches. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like, like Shiraz, to his credit, knew, hey, if I keep punching this guy, the referee will step in. You know what I mean? So it
Mm.
wasn't one jab. It's a bit like that lucky punch that Wood threw against Warrington. It was a succession of punches. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Like it
Mm.
wasn't one bad punch that floored Williams at all.
I
It was
was
a succession of punches that overwhelmed Williams, and Williams won't fight again. Shouldn't fight
I
again.
was
Probably
raging.
will
I was
in
raging
something.
that McKenna didn't get the fight once I seen that.
Yeah,
Because
but there was
McKenna
no
would have
money
done
in the
a job
McKenna
as well.
fight. Yeah, but there was no money in the McKenna fight. Obviously, like
Warren's gonna put the money into
Sh-
Shiraz. He wants to build him.
Shiraz is one of Warren's.
Stocks, good stocks in Shiraz. I like it, especially in that division. That's the other thing.
But
Is
that's what
you
I
look at
mean.
it.
Whereas McKenna is not tied to a promotional company, as I'm aware. Like I know he fights with Hennessy,
I've
and
just
they're on to Boxer, but like I mean, it's not the same as having Frank Warren and Queensbury Promotions behind you. Like it just isn't.
I've just had a
You know.
brainwave.
Go on.
Mhm.
What are the odds of Ben Shiraz on this Matchroom v Queensbury card?
No, it won't happen.
Oh, as in Connor.
Yeah.
Not a chance in hell are they putting Connor to get killed by Shiraz.
No, they'll only put him in against a has-been or an overrated fighter.
But could you
They
imagine
will.
they're willing to put him in against Eubank?
Yeah,
Imagine if they did
Yeah,
just
but
put him in with
Eubank
Shiraz.
isn't as good as Shiraz.
I think he's better.
I would bet on
No,
Shiraz in
definitely
that
not.
Would
fight.
you?
Yeah, I'd bet on Shiraz in that
No,
fight.
no,
I
Shiraz
think
has far more talent than Eubank. Eubank fought a fighter that was overweight and not fit coming into that fight,
I'm not just talking about
and that's
Smith.
his
I
best
just think
fucking win.
overall.
You know what I
no,
mean?
I like Shiraz's upside more than Chris Eubanks at this stage. I think. I mean, I don't think the fight
Oh yeah,
happens, but
Shiraz has real
The
world
good
champion
thing, the
potential.
good thing for
Eubank will
Shiraz
never win a
is
proper world title.
just like what Adam said there a second ago. The good thing with Shiraz is the weight class he's in.
yeah, it's a good weight class to be in at the minute because it's. I think
100%.
Oh,
there's only one world class fighter at that weight, and I think
Janabek.
yeah, he's the only world class fighter at that weight, and he shows he's level above everyone else. But this was the run where I think Luke and I started doing quite well in our predictions because I'd had a fucking shocking run of predictions recently, and then we did a couple for Enda's channel, which is
yeah. I mean, you got all the boxers right, and one decision. Okay,
not yeah,
The
I
Inouye one.
mean,
Yeah.
in a way
but
one.
like the Inouye one, hindsight's a great fucking thing. But I'm not after timing. I did think Inouye would stop him. You know, I just thought, this is set up for him to win.
Yeah,
I don't just look at, say, the boxers. I look at the occasion, and he's kind of,
and the
was
ascendancy.
the big name on it. He was there with his brother, and it was all kind of, the stars were aligned for him to shine. Now, not everyone shines. sometimes it's too much for people and they flop, and we've seen it. But he shone, But they all shone that night. Like that day, it was brilliant. I mean, it was the best. It was the best card that I've watched in a long time. I really
Fabulous stuff.
enjoyed all the fights there, and it
Who
was
do you
hard then
put?
to watch the UK and the US fights after it because they were all one-sided shit.
100%. Who do you put Shiraz in with next then? Would you stick him in with the winner of Haney and your man whose name's escaped me right now?
Paul's.
Yes,
do you mean
Paul's.
Heaney?
Oh, Heaney, not Haney. Yeah, sorry.
But I knew who
Heaney
you
and
meant.
Paul's.
Heaney Paul's, yeah. I think Shiraz
Perfect.
is too good for them.
Yeah, but that's the perfect fight for Shiraz because that
Oh,
keeps him
yeah.
busy and it builds his profile. That's the fight for Shiraz,
And it's a belt.
and it's a
Well,
belt. Yeah,
I think it's more likely to happen if Paul's wins, because if Heaney wins, Warren might want to keep that cash cow rolling.
Is this Heaney's? Does he keep the belt this time? Is this his third
No,
defense?
it's only his.
No.
This is his first
His
defense, not
first.
his third.
He won it off Bentley.
He won
Yeah.
it off
Yes,
Bentley.
yes.
Bentley was
Sorry.
shocking that night.
Yeah, I thought he
Shocking.
defended off Bentley. Sorry.
Tyler
No.
Denny is the other fight I'd be interested in. The
Denny.
European belt holder,
I'll
Denny.
tell
Oh
you what.
yeah, Tyler Denny. Now that's a fight I think would be
He's
better for
a
Shiraz.
horrible man to fight.
Yeah, but that's it. Because what I want, so when you're looking at, so for me, Shiraz comes under the kind of potential world-class prospect. So what I want before he fights for a title is I want to see him in 3 or 4 fights against different styles. And Tyler Denny is like you say, he's a really horrible man to fight. That's the fight I'd really like for Hamza Shiraz. But that was I actually
I like the Denny
3.
fight. I like the Denny fight. I don't think there's anything for him in the Healy Paul's fight winner.
It's his profile, but then you could theoretically do those quickly. Like in theory, you get those done before the end of summer. Like he's got to go through Ramadan, obviously, so you try and get those done by the end of summer. And now coming into the tail end.
I mean, Ramadan. By the time Paul's and Taylor fight, Ramadan will have started. So by the time they're going to fight again, Ramadan will have definitely be over.
Yeah, so it's perfect.
Like he could do like a Lewis Ritson on the Lonsdale belt.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what you're kind of looking at and go right. And then because of the division he's in, if he does that at domestic UK level, that really sets him up for world level because so many of the British middleweights are fringe world level.
Oh yeah,
like imagine if he went like just for argument's sake, Heaney, Bentley, Denny.
Yeah, perfect run. That's what a year that is as well. Because Denny's by far and away the next name in the UK. That's the kind of run that you'd want him on, and then he gets a huge amount of momentum going into.
I'm no bias, but Queensbury are giving better UK cards. Well, I think Eddie's effectively given up in the UK a little bit. He's got his American star now. He doesn't need the UK anymore.
Like with what's his face, with Shiraz, like when you win a Lonsdale belt outright, you're basically the undisputed best in Britain. That's like an undisputed title, basically.
Yeah, domestic undisputed title. Yeah.
So like that's such an accolade to get. So I think if he did that, if he did fight the winner of Heaney Paul's, gets that belt and defends it, and becomes undisputed best in domestic level, he's definitely knocking on the door then for world titles.
Yeah. And then the perfect fight for him is then Smith. Smith is then the final step if Liam comes back. So it's a case of just basically Frank's going to have to invest a lot of money, but I think he's a fighter you'd buy stocks in. There's a few of them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's where Frank knows this is his golden goose. I mean, and it's a division that's wide open for exploitation.
And likely being a Muslim would be a good sell in Saudi.
Yeah, we were talking about him and Aziz were on toe to toe, and they were talking about the representation, and then how that's just such a massive, like how big Khan was. You don't realize how big Amir Khan was, and no one's really stepped into that kind of South Asian market. So it's endlessly interesting. But those are the fights I'd love to see. And Hamza really stalled for a while, and he's kind of kicked forward again. So I hope he continues to do that out in America.
Yeah.
But we're then going to, so speaking of the unbelievable card in Japan, we're going to talk about Santiago versus my second favorite Japanese boxer, which is Yuto Nakatani. That was a fabulous fight. Now, we did cover this in detail on Endas, but I couldn't go through without talking about this. So if you want to see
I think you're entitled to talk in news because he's your guy, Nakatani, to be fair, So
he's
yeah, absolutely
fantastic. And what he does, so I think we were talking about this. He basically fights exactly the way someone that is built like him should. He throws the perfect straight left, but because he's so big, he doesn't give you. He's a big southpaw. He doesn't give you any of that front foot gap. You've got to pay the piper to come through the front door, and every time you pay the piper, the left hand is right behind it. And then when he got to Santiago, he saw he was buzzed, and then because his balance is so good, the right hand came across, and that was it.
Oh, it was brilliant.
I think, not to blow my own trumpet now, but I think the analogy of saying he's like a southpaw Tommy Hearns, is it. I think he is like that.
I mean, and that's without hyperbole. Hyperbole.
Hyperbole, that's the one.
Hyperbole is for people
I really
who've only
do,
ever read it written down. No,
I
hyperbole.
really do think he is.
He could be the next Tommy Hearns, definitely. I could see that. I mean, I was very I'd seen him fight but never live, and he just blew me away. And I was like, this guy is going to be bigger.
His distance control, his calmness, and he fights like a puncher.
Yeah. So I think he like, I mean, in a way, could easily, conquer America. But I think Nakatani could definitely conquer America. I
think what's beautiful about the two of them is they know they're never in a rush. If I don't get you in round 1, I'll get you in round 2. I don't get you then on and on and on into round 12. They're confident in knocking you out until the final bell goes. And it's a beautiful thing to have, and they can back it up. Like, I even made comment on Twitter, like, Nakatani was wearing those winning gloves that are not puncher's gloves.
Pillows.
And he's still starching guys. Imagine him in a pair of horsehair headlights.
Would you remember when Inoue was wearing?
But imagine him versus Inoue. How that would be massive in Japan. That would be bigger than anything ever.
They're saying they're aiming for that New Year's Eve, 2025. So not this year, next year. That's what they're building.
Yeah, well, that'd be fair enough.
I think Nakatani Bam would be class.
Yeah, that'd be fabulous.
Anywhere as well. Bam would go to Japan.
Yeah, of course. God, that's where the money is.
Bam was being lined up for Inoue, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah, that's what they were looking at. But all roads lead to Inoue. That's the thing. At that weight, he's a superstar. So
he's the boss. He's the final boss. Like,
the Neary fight is just, it's delicious.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
Like, fair play to Neary. Like, it's mad. Like we're giving Neary all the props, but in reality, Inoue deserves. But it's like, for getting in the ring with Inoue, I think anyone deserves like my fucking applause because Jesus.
There's another fight I quite like, and it was a fighter on the undercard.
I mean, the Yankees are so afraid of Inoue, they want him to go up another 4 divisions to fight one of theirs.
Oh, that's just stupid. People are coming with daft stuff. I'd like
to see... you know what I mean, like.
Yeah, of course they do, because they can't not have it in America. But
I didn't actually catch the undercard, Adam.
So Tanaka, this is what I want to talk about. Koisei Tanaka, or however you pronounce his first name, my deepest apologies, but he became a 4-weight world champion alongside Ioka and alongside Inoue. At the second time of asking, I'd like to see if Tanaka, because there's kind of a few options, which is the rematch against Ioka, or get Tanaka to step up and fight Nakatani.
Are they 112? Is it?
So Nakatani's bantam, so 118, and Tanaka's 115. 115. Okay. But they've both jumped up to the weights because actually the whole goal for all of this was initially they wanted Tanaka to fight Nakatani, but Tanaka lost to Ioka.
Yes, I was going to say to you there because I'd like to see Sonny versus Tanaka.
That would be phenomenal. That's another one I'd like.
The only thing, because Sonny lost, it's a harder fight to make now.
Was he not going down? That's what the last I heard for
Sonny's going down to 112, is he?
Yeah, he's going down to light fly. So this again come on to the next one, which was Kuriel versus Noshinga, which was one of. So we were talking about this. Like, wasn't biggest month in terms of like the mass appeals. Like we're getting Joshua this weekend, but holy shit, the fights were amazing this month.
No, but I'm sorry,
was-
like people, the Joshua fight. Joshua is a novelty fucking fight. The amount of people giving that any kind of credence just
Oh no,
boils my
yeah.
piss.
We're
Like
not
the
getting
guy
onto-
is a fucking second fight novice.
Can I just say one thing?
Mhm.
Joshua should punch his face in within 6 rounds, right? We're all
I
in
said
agreement.
that earlier. Yeah.
Right? But he might not, and it might be turned into a hard fight.
It will,
It shouldn't,
because he doesn't have that killer instinct anymore. And the only thing that he has in his favor is he will do, the basics right, unlike Tyson, who
He's
really.
got good fundamentals, yeah.
But Tyson took that fight far too lightly, so that's given the warning
Look,
to Joshua.
I'm
And I
I'm not
can't see
gonna
Joshua coming in underprepared and overweight.
no. But one thing I won't do, because Ngannou impressed me on all counts against Fury. The way he held his shape, the way he was
But he did
patient,
the
the way
basics right.
exactly, and I think at the heavyweight division, I
That's
seen
all
it
you need.
on. It's a different sport to the rest of the
Oh,
rest of the sport.
absolutely. But
They're
I can
not.
see him. I can just see a wide points decision for Joshua. That's all I see.
Yeah, like I mean, it could turn into a scrap, but I expect now my official prediction. I know we're not going into it now, but is Joshua TKO 6. I think he won't knock him out, but he'll stop him on his feet. But no, what was the point earlier with the good sells? Yeah, like Curiel Nonshinga, like it wasn't a good sell of a fight partially because of the first one too.
Yeah.
And Curiel showed, it's
Can we
okay
get him
to
to
go
fight
back.
every week?
Yeah, it'd be great,
I
wouldn't it?
love watching him fight.
Like, and the best thing was, it was a total different fight to the first one. It was straight in, no kissing,
Yeah.
Whereas the first fight was all box you.
Well, I remember so I was watching the first fight, and obviously Nishinga was doing really, really well, and he gets caught with an overhand right because he spent his entire time looking for the left hook.
Yeah.
And then this fight, he does exactly the opposite, and he keeps getting caught with left hooks because he's
He
looking
was
for the
moving
right
to his
hand.
right the whole time.
Yeah, because he's just looking for that right hand the whole way. And then I remember the commentary, and I was like, it's got to take his toll because he's just getting hit and hit and hit. And it was like almost Curiel not necessarily punched him out, but suddenly he just wilted because it was Nishinga was getting in his shots, and a fabulous
Also, though,
fight.
as well, you might maybe Curiel's not a two-handed puncher.
No, maybe not.
Maybe those left hooks weren't dealing a great lot of damage compared to that overhand right.
Either of those fighting Sonny would be great. I'd be happy with either of those fights.
Yeah.
I will say Curiel, style-wise, is perfect for Sonny.
Definitely. Eat him up. He would just box the ears off him.
Nishinga would be super long, so that would be really interesting to see. Who do you like for Sonny, Enda?
Well, like you said, you guys would be more expert on it than me, but either of those, no problem. If Sonny's going down, and that's where he's going down to, because I don't think if he stays on the weight he is, I don't think it's good for him necessarily. Because he doesn't have power, he needs to come down, and because he will be more powerful at a lower weight, whereas but like you said, either of those, I don't have a problem with them.
Yeah. The final one I'd like to see makes a difference.
3 pounds when you're 115 pounds is a lot.
Fence.
Yeah. Kenshiro, the man at the division. That's the fight to make. If it's Sonny, if it's Nishinga, Kenshiro's the man you got to go through. He is just superb. Even
he's the main man, yeah.
And then speaking of other really good fights, was Rakimov versus Sugar Nunes. That was another belter.
God. Yeah.
That was another super fight, wasn't it?
Class.
Yeah, no. This is what I love about when you get deeper into boxing. You find fights that are good that people don't talk about.
I do think, probably jumping ahead here, but the best fight of this month was last weekend.
Yes, I would agree.
That was something
unbelievable.
else.
But it was funny because I remember
Just
reading.
Give me the fight again because my head's a little.
Kolmatov versus Ford. He's talking about.
Oh God!
Which is what we're going to end on this. But I thought Rakimov versus Nunes was what the Cordina fight would have been if Joe could really punch.
Yeah, that's very fair. Yeah,
it was just the accumulative of. I remember Joe hitting him with some shots, and I thought, holy hell! And then it was just the fact that Nunes can punch that bit more. It just eventually got to him. But
But how many times have we said about fighters if they could punch? Like,
yeah.
Then Joe
it's such
found
a
he could
curse,
punch.
isn't it? Sorry?
Then Joe found he could punch.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, so this is my kind of thing about Joe is it's speed is his weapon. So he's going to get.
But it wasn't speed that knocked down that guy.
The Japanese boy. Well, it was the fact he didn't see it coming, and then it landed so fast, and he wasn't able to tense.
He was expecting a left hook after the jab, and the next thing he knew, there was a right hand in his face.
The jury is still out with me on that.
But for legal reasons, it was the speed that did it.
It was definitely speed for legal reasons.
I mean, but I just think he probably had a big egg diet. You know, I mean, he ate lots of eggs. Eggs are full of protein. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But it was it's just I mean the Nunes fight for Cordina is a great fight as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
look, Cordina,
I'd like that fight.
You could stick Cordina in with any of them, to be honest. And is Shaq Foster the same weight?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that I love him because of his fight
great
as well.
Performance.
He's another great one. That was another one where it's just constantly in good fights. Well, he knocked out Nunes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, he knocked out Nunes, and that was so. Did we see? Was it Farhood? One of the guys tweeted that basically there's only been. So we're going to come on to the last fight.
Have I disappeared, or is it just blank for me?
You disappeared and then came back, so you're now back.
Oh, weird.
Okay.
There's only been in the history of boxing 15 fights where the guy has gone into the 12th round behind and knocked him out.
Yeah.
And Oshaki Foster versus Nunes was the last one before this weekend, which was Kolmatov versus Ford. The very famous Boxing News derby. I don't know if you guys watched their predictions. They did the big show where I think it was Barry.
But how many of them has been Lee Wood at this stage?
Was it round 12 against Conlon?
It was, yeah.
So I think that's one of them.
He was behind against Conlon. Officially, he was behind against Conlon. No, it was round 11. It wasn't round 12. It was round 11.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was round 11 because I don't think it's on the list. I think it was Oshaki Foster versus Nunes. And I think the next one after that, they mentioned it. Obviously, Froch Taylor is the one that springs to mind, and Chavez Taylor again. So it's unfortunate. Yeah. So what did you think of the fights, Jen? What did you think of Kolmatov versus Ford?
Class.
But I had Kolmatov winning.
Yeah.
And then Ford did perfectly. Now, people were giving out about the referee, but the referee got everything right. Yeah. That wasn't a knockdown because Ford pushed him down. You cannot score a knockdown.
And
he
Ford
was up on his feet, and Ford absolutely walloped the shite out of him. He turned and ran. You can't do that. Fight's over.
And
Take
Ford
a knee
fought,
if you want, but you can't fucking turn and run.
He fought like a puncher, and he's not one.
It's mad, isn't it?
You know, and he just really had to bite into his gum shield in that round. He knew he was down.
Yeah,
there was a fun. So commendable. I love that.
There was I think it was the round 10 going into 11. He gets up and he goes, "Was that my round?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, sure, but you still need these rounds."
It's funny, isn't it?
Brilliant, but it was really interesting because obviously Ford has a huge eighth. And then you're going, right, is he getting to Kolmatov? And then Kolmatov, for me, won 9, 10, 11.
Yeah.
So he was well down on I think it was my scorecard. And then, it's just, so this is my kind of this is what I try and explain to people. Now, we all love a variety of sports. We all like our football. Ed and I love our rugby. I love the kind of the weightlifting and the strongman stuff. There's not a single sport on earth that does holy fuck moments like that. There's not another one that does it. It's unbelievable.
No. Combat sports
but not one that can turn on a sixpence, because that's the nature of boxing. Yeah. It's like your guy, Chris Billam-Smith, losing the whole fight, but he targeted the rib cage and bang, he won. A fight can end in a second.
Was it? Yeah, they told the 10-run home run and the buzzer beater. Oh, just unbelievable.
No, look, and the good thing is, the exciting thing about it, rather, I should say is it wasn't a one punch out of nowhere knockout.
No,
No.
It was an out of nowhere battering.
yeah, he
But
catches
that
him with the
round,
right
he
hook,
was
and
just
then he's
like
gone.
possessed, and he went out like a demon. And I mean, like he was so gung ho. He pushed down Komalov. Had he not done that, Komalov would have hit the ground and he would have got a count. But because he pushed him, the referee couldn't give him a count.
It was
He
probably
allowed
better
Kom-
off.
That's
but
what I was going to say.
it was
If
better
he,
for Ford that he didn't because he
yeah,
didn't get time to recover.
the
You know?
referee absolutely nailed that. If he
Oh, he
gives
got it
him,
perfect.
if he gives Kolmatov the count, Kolmatov wins that fight.
And the worst
But
thing
he
is in
couldn't give
boxing,
Komatov the knock, or he couldn't give Ford the knockdown because it was an illegal knockdown. He pushed
Mhm.
him down.
the
Had he just allowed him to collapse or take a knee, but he was never going to take a knee.
but
Had he
sure,
gone to the ground normally, it would have been a count 10. Come to me, blah 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 blah. By which time Ford is now not as hepped up as he was, and Kolmalov is regrouped because Kolmalov was all over the place. It was like Conlon against Wood. People thought it was one punch. It wasn't. Fucking Conlon was barely alive when Wood landed those punches, and it was the same with Kolmalov. Like that was. I mean, that turning and running thing, he did not know where he was going. That was like when Warrington waddled off back to the corner when Wood absolutely pulverized him with the hooks. You know, it was like the referee had no option but to stop the fight. You cannot do what he did. You know,
but the
like
worst
oh,
the
he's
worst
going to
thing
give him
is
a
for
standing
me.
count. Like read the fucking rules. There's no such thing as a standing count. You know, in professional championship boxing. So fuck off.
Like with the eight
Go
count,
shout into a cave.
it's never an 8 count. Do you know, it's never 8 seconds.
No, but
It's
that's
But you
usually
the
have to take a
20
knee.
seconds, you know. Um it's usually okay, come back to me, okay,
yeah.
gloves, blah
Thumb
blah blah.
shield goes out.
Yeah, exactly. So it could be 20, 25 seconds instead of 8, you know. So it's just one thing that shouldn't be down to referee's discretion, but it is, unfortunately. Um like I know a lot of the time where the
What's
knockdown
down
they
to a referee's
instantly
discretion?
The how
to
long
how
the
to see if
count
someone's
stuff.
okay.
Yeah, well, I mean that's a health thing. Like that's not boxing decided that. The health thing did. You know, I
It's
mean,
no, but it's
box
also
people have to remember. No, but boxing has to play within the rules because the doctors and the medical people that sign off on fights, if they don't get this what they want, they boxing will cease
it's
to
also
exist.
like the misconception of the 10 count. It's not 10 seconds. It's
Well,
But
whenever
we
the
you,
found that
referee
out with
gets to
we
10.
found that out with Fury. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it is
Yeah,
what
it's
it
whenever
is.
the ref. Now I know sometimes in Britain especially, as soon as they hit the floor, there's someone on the mic counting.
Hmm.
yeah,
I definitely prefer that.
yeah. It's
It
Well,
it's
seems
it
all
fairer
takes
to
it
me.
away from the referee as well because the referee's enough to fucking do. Because the referee's first duty is to the boxer on the ground.
Well, the
You know,
referee's first duty is to get the other fighter into the neutral corner
no,
before he
but
can even
that's
start a
by
count.
no. But his first duty is to the fallen boxer, 100%. And putting the other guy in the corner, if the other guy doesn't go in the corner, then he's giving the other guy enough time. But getting him in the corner is just getting him away from the boxer, so you're still
Exactly.
protecting the boxer on the
It's
ground.
because of Jack Dempsey,
I
that
mean,
rule.
that's your like what I learned. You know, when I did the R&J course, that's what you learn. Your first duty is to the fallen boxer. You know, and if he's not breathing, get the gum shield out and don't worry about counting. You know, make sure the fucking
Oh
boxer's
yeah, like when
okay.
they're absolutely starched, they're not going to
You
count. But
know.
I'm just on about a regular
No,
knockdown
no,
where
but even
where
if they're
you
not, like
know,
you can't tell instantaneously about that. So you've got to make sure, right, do I need to take out the gum shield? So it's better that there's a guy outside the ring doing the
agreed,
count if it needs to be counted.
100%.
And ordinarily, anyway, if he's not continuing, you're just waving it off. I know it's different in pro boxing. There's a higher standard that has to be met, but at the end of the day, sometimes boxers need saving from themselves because their corner ain't gonna fucking save them. You
But
know.
yeah, I would like the 10 count to be a 10-second count. That was my point. Not up to the referee to do a 20-second 10 count. Do you know, if
right.
there's someone
Well,
counting outside the ring,
but it's the art. So this was always the case. So it's one of the things you talk about across all sports. It's the art of cheating,
Oh
and
mm,
it's
yeah,
a
like
case of what
rugby
you
is
do
famous for it.
is you understand there is only one objective clock in a ring, and that's the
yeah,
timer for the round. But what you can't, it's really hard to then go, someone hits the ground, you go now. Because that person, you've got to give that person the opportunity to respond. And what you don't want when you've been knocked down is going, where the fuck's the clock? So it's understanding that ultimately the referee's the one, it's at the referee's discretion, and your job isn't to go, well, somebody on Instagram is going to time this, and it's actually 13 seconds, not 10. That's irrelevant. You've got to deal with the person in front of you.
But
as long as you deal with that.
I bet, well, I'm just going to throw a number out here. 70% of knockdowns are like flash knockdowns or knockdowns where you're fine. You've just fallen. So like you should have, like, say if I get hit and my glove touches the canvas.
I wouldn't say 70% of knockdowns you're fine. That's definitely not true.
But your head is clear. So like, say if I get hit, my glove touches the canvas, I'm grand. As soon as my glove touches the canvas, I hear 1,
No, but
2.
if you're hitting the head
I'm thinking,
and you touch the canvas, your head is not fine because it's you lost your balance. The reason you're on the ground.
Well, there's plenty of factors too. You could be off balance. You could have been moving. You know, there's
No,
loads
that's
of.
what I mean. You were put off balance and you've been hit on the head. Like you can't just go, well, 70% of people are fine. You just can't do that. You know.
It's an estimation.
Yeah, that's just my guess.
Even still, it's far too high. I'd say about 10% would be okay.
Fair enough.
But then, for example, the ones you're talking about.
Yeah. So like you get knocked down. Oh fuck! I've been knocked down. You hear 1, 2 straight away. You're gonna think to yourself, right? Geez, I better get up here. Do you know? Whereas if you've fallen, 5 or 6 seconds have passed, and then the referee's finally over to you and he's in your face counting, you're gonna take that rest. Do you know?
But that's it. But it's also a case of, generally speaking, that is the person at the side's job. Like when it touches the ground, you do start to hear that. But
yeah,
it's very hard. So again, we kind of get into the football with the VAR. We kind of get into the TMO and rugby and stuff like that. It's physically impossible to completely automate every process. We have to.
100%, 100%.
Boxers make not necessarily mistakes, but
what I would say is. Everyone's breaking up on me.
What were you going to say?
I can hear you perfect.
Oh, well, I couldn't hear you guys. No, but see, you have to remember the duty of care to the fallen boxer. And you don't want him to spring up if he's not ready. So that's why the referee sometimes gives them time. You know, are you well? Walk to me. And that's well above 10 seconds now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's my point,
an 8 count. But to say if you don't get up in 8 seconds, it's over, you're putting a boxer in unnecessary danger. So you can't do that.
So I'll say this way, Luke, right? From your point of view, you're as a fighter, you're interested in going, I want this to be as fair as possible, and I want to have the maximum chance of knocking him out, right? That's not actually their job. So the way to look at it is, that what you're actually doing is, guys, so they have this amount of time to prove to me that they're able to physically stand, but you've then got that point where you're going, right, this extra bit of time will save this person potentially taking an unnecessary punch to the head. And it's the very strange ground we live in boxing, where you're like, it is a violent sport, but we do have a duty.
It's a common misconception though, isn't it? That was my original point, is that people think a 10 count is 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's
but
not.
It's most certainly not.
I would estimate that from glove hitting the canvas to fights resuming, it's probably somewhere between 15 and 20 seconds, 15 to 30 seconds. Would you say that's fair? Right?
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
Yeah.
But I mean, and then, right, I mean, you have to remember, like, there's very few people in the ring who have the boxer's best interest at heart.
Definitely.
Because some people only want the boxer to win, no matter what, you know.
Do you think...
It's like going back to the Wood-Warrington fight. People said, well, Wood should have been given, or Warrington should have been given the 60 seconds to recover. No, he shouldn't. He wasn't compos mentis. He waddled back to the corner, didn't know where the fuck he was. That fight was over.
There's no your job to go. Sorry.
Any other referee other than Jack Reese would have let Fiore carry on against Wilder?
Yeah, no.
I don't think so.
That happens in the UK, that fight's over. That fight happens in the UK, that fight's done.
To be honest with you, I think the likes of Kenny Bayless, there wouldn't have been a count.
But so again, it's a case. So here's the kind of I was talking to one of the guys that I work with, and he's into his boxing, right? are the fight like your Gattes, your Corrales, your Fury Wilders, are they worth the fact that 99% of the time, all that's going to happen is someone else is going to take the beating?
Yeah.
But then you kind of go, right, well, that's the game.
See, it's hard. It's hard for me as well as someone who's actively competing. Like I don't care about my safety as much as the ref or my corner do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like if I'm hurt, I'm gonna want to carry on regardless of how hurt I am.
But that's just your bravado.
That's my
or
job.
Machismo
That's
and your adrenaline that's pumping through your veins.
Exactly.
That's why the boxer. Some boxers take a knee, we all know who, but most boxers just fucking don't, and they need saving for themselves. And the corner don't always have the best interest of the boxer at heart, because if their guy can win, that's good for them. So they don't always. So the only one that has the best interest in terms of safety is the referee.
Can I say something that could potentially be relevant this weekend? No, I don't think it will be. I think Ben Davidson did the best towel throw of all time.
Like for Wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, against Lara, I think
I think that was the best towel throw there's ever been.
Yep, yeah, totally agree.
And that's what I like as well about Lee Wood, and he's won me over. But defeat isn't the end. This fucking zero thing is just pissing me off.
Oh, Mayweather, as much as I love Floyd Mayweather, he fecked up boxing a bit with that.
I agree with that.
But like, who did he avoid? People said he avoided Amir Khan. How the fuck could he avoid Amir Khan?
No, but regardless of like, Floyd's great. Floyd's one of the best of all time. But the O thing isn't too big of a deal now.
It was the selling point. Yeah.
But I felt Joe Calzaghe's O was far more protected than Floyd Mayweather's.
It was, but
we don't mean their protection. It's the sales. So what we're saying is, so Floyd's aspect was 40.
That was part of his pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was 40 odd have tried. Like nobody succeeded. Like that's the sales, and because he sold it like that, and he was as big as he was, it's now. There's now a generation of people
in mixed,
you've got two losses.
I like my mixed martial arts as well. Not an avid fan like I am of boxing. I'm definitely an MMA casual, but like the O doesn't matter there. Do you know what I mean? The O does not matter.
But it doesn't last, does it?
Yeah, but
no.
But it's not at the place where boxing is. Boxing
only Khabib
far more along
Nurmagomedov had the O.
Really?
But like a lot of people in boxing would drop you if you lose one. It shouldn't matter. Do you know?
It's in contracts.
Yeah, that's
it's in contracts.
But it's just the nature of the beast, what it's become. You know, it's everything. It's everything in sport. If you are not the winner, the second you lose, you're gone. In any sport, you know what I mean? That you're yesterday's man. You know, Man United are nowhere. It's all about Man City now. You know what I mean? That's just how sport moves. It follows the winner, and the losers are cast aside.
But we love a redemption story.
Yes,
of course we love a redemption story, and if it's the guy's last fucking season, let's
look at
the sun.
Look at Nanshinga.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know, losses do not define us. But
but it's the nature of boxing and boxing movies. It's always about the redemption arc. It's always about the underdog. You know, right and wrongs.
Are you going to be tuning in on Friday?
Yep.
Are you, Enda?
I'm here, but I can barely hear you.
Are you going to be tuning in?
Card?
Sorry?
Are you watching the Joshua cards?
I didn't hear a word you said there. Sorry.
We'll assume yes. I'm going to assume yes.
Oh, well, Joseph Parker's boxing.
What was the question?
Yes.
Are you going to be watching the Joshua card?
If you both speak, I think it's when you both speak that I can't hear anything.
Go on, Adam.
Adam, what's the question?
Are you watching the Joshua card this weekend?
Yes, because I want to see Zhang Parker.
Yes. Yeah. Have you got Parker winning that?
That's the fight I want to see. But I thought it was on Saturday, which meant I wasn't going to see it, but it's on Friday, which
same. I totally forgot it was on Saturday. It wasn't on Saturday.
No, it's on Friday.
Yeah, I know.
I think I
thought Saturday, and I was like, I paid for something I can't watch because I'm going outside the European fucking Union. And then I was like, right, cancel it.
The Ball fight is fucking Ball Vargas is a great fight.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah. Sorry, Ball Vargas should be good, but I think Nick Ball is a little bit over.
I tell you what, and if you can't hurt him, you're in trouble.
Thumbs up
Told
there.
you, I look like a thumb.
No, it's just you like you. It's like, oh, Luke said something I like.
Are you going for Parker then? And you want him to win, but do you think he will?
I don't know. I mean, if Zhang fights his perfect fight, he'll definitely win. If Parker manages to neutralize Zhang the way he neutralized Wilder, he's every chance. And I think, call me biased, but if Andy Lee gets the program right and Parker executes it the way he executed before, there's no stopping him. In a word of Starship, nothing's going to stop us now.
The problem I
Sorry,
have
I'm
with
using references that's way before your time.
the problem with Zhang is that the song that David Hay used to come out to?
No, that's Ain't No Stopping Us Now. That is
Okay.
Brendan McFadden.
There
I
we
was
go.
going to say, I couldn't imagine David Hay would have a very kind of, a Starship. It's very, mid
Not very
as a
cool.
song. Yeah.
Okay.
It's that's why I like it, because it's not one
But
bit cool.
the problem with fighting Zhang is he's a two-handed
Zhang?
puncher. Yeah, he is a two-handed puncher, and he's
Mm.
got great footwork too. Like the way Parker was able to maneuver Wilder around the wing, who doesn't have good footwork, is going to be a different story for Zhang.
Wilder
and if
went
Zhang gets
sideways
yeah,
and then
and
go forward.
I
But then
think
again, Parker's not going to be another Joe Joyce, just fucking stand there.
but also we have to remember as well with the Parker Wilder fight, Parker had what, like 20 something pounds on him.
Yeah. Solid.
Whereas this time Zhang's going to have what, 40, 50 pounds on him.
So, in a word, guys, because we're going to have to wrap this up just now as well.
Yeah.
Who have you got?
Yeah.
So, give us the winner of the main event. Give us the winner of Parker Zhang.
AJ and Zhang.
Parker on points.
Yep, I've got AJ Zhang, both stoppages.
Same.
That's what I think.
No,
I've
I'm AJ wide points decision.
Your points on both. Love it.
And Nick Ball versus your man, I'm going for
Vargas.
Vargas.
Vargas, yes, I'm going for Vargas by stoppage. There you go.
There we go. Right.
Nice one,
Gentlemen,
boys.
So
thank you as
one of us
always.
is going to be. Something tells
Thumbs
me
up.
though my predictions are the least likely to win. Obviously, if mine all came true,
You'll be eating well.
you would win the most amount of money, but the chances of it happening is slim.
Small, but thank you as always,
You're better
gentlemen.
off backing
See you
Arsenal
later,
minus
boys.
4 to beat Sheffield United. Get in.
Right.
See you
See you
later.
later, gentlemen.
Speaking of which, Man City, Liverpool. What's the prediction there?
Always back Liverpool. Nice and simple.
Oh, bless.